back to another small interview we're doing for the annual awards. Joining us today is Itai Levitan, Head of Strategy at investingLive. How are you, Itai?
Good. How are you, Nicole?
I'm good, thank you. It's lovely to have you on the panel this year.
Thank you.
So let's jump into some questions we get a lot. What signals show that a brokerage brand is genuinely serving retail traders and investors?
That's a good question. And what I would ideally look for, I mean, not always do I find it, but I would try to look beyond the marketing jargon and the big words. So, for example, if a broker, let's say 6 months ago, rolled out a very significant feature, in their opinion, then I would want to look at some metrics of before and after, how it actually affected both them, and probably even more important, how it affected their traders. Okay, so let's say they rolled out even something about education. Okay, I would want to see a before and after signs of how it really impacted their traders, and not only by words, yeah, here's one testimonial or that testimonial, but actually, for example, maybe they would show how much, how less frequently their traders got what's called margin called, because a lot of traders don't understand what margin is too much. It's basically, it's like a backup, how much money have they got in their account before they can bust out. And newbies usually don't abuse that tool and get quickly into frequent margin calls. Just an example. So if a trader is more educated and I as a broker could show, okay, here I noticed that I have a problem here. I had X% of margin calls for new traders. Once I rolled out this simple education, even video series, here I can show that they got less margin calls. So basically, in summary, a before and after of statistics that back such a claim and tying it to the trader experience.
Definitely super important. So when reviewing nominees, how much weight do you place on accessibility and user experience compared to technical performance?
Okay, that's a great question. Technical performance is always relevant and significant, and trading, for example, when you take, so for example, market execution, or you don't want your traders to get some other technical glitch, right? But still, I would say that UX is probably twice as important. And I would also say that trust is twice as important. So for example, if I had to rate it, I would rate 20% on technical performance, 40% on UX, and 40% on trust. Okay, and let's take an example. Again, from the brokers, not all nominees are brokers. We can talk about service providers as well to the brokerage industry. But let's continue that example with brokers. So traders have, for example, some brokers offer their traders a way to, it's called flatten everything. It means that if you have any unfilled orders, you can quickly cancel them. If you're in positions, you can quickly exit them. Why do traders need it? Let's say there's an FOMC meeting about interest rates in 5 minutes. I forgot about that, and I want to quickly close everything, or simply at the end of the day before the market closes. So I want to see that I'm not left with an order, which could be devastating. For example, if I've got, for example, a short on NVIDIA, and let's say tomorrow it's reporting earnings and it's going to go up 10%, that's devastating for me. So, and traders forget sometimes about that. So if I have something like flatten everything, then let's take one broker that's exceptionally well in technicals and technical performance, gives me excellent prices to exit. But the UX is cumbersome. It took me time to find that button to flatten everything. And I'm not exactly sure about what prices I got to exit the market. On the other hand, there's another broker that technically maybe the market execution is slower. Technically, it's not as fast, okay? But the UX is very clear, and I know exactly what prices I got out of. There's full transparency there. I would prefer the broker with the better UX and the better trust over the one with the better technicals. And again, that's just an example about one need or one function, but you can, of course, adopt that and take that into almost anything. So to summarize, UX and trust. I know you didn't ask about trust, but I put that in. So, but if I'm just comparing UX and technicals, again, UX.
Right. Yeah, definitely super important.
Yeah.
And for fintech providers, how important is it that their tools make brokers more effective at serving everyday traders?
Okay, so obviously, I mean, one can say in a way that's a bit of even a trivial question, and of course they need to do that. My addition is to what extent? If you now, let's say I have a certain tool or service, and I only improve the client's performance by a little bit. Okay, let's say I do it, I make them 10% more effective. Okay. In today's world, I claim that that's not enough. We have so many tools and so many options. Our time is scarce, and we have AI that's making more and more effective, and we have a lot of things, a lot of other providers that are claiming to save our time or save our money or help us make more money. So I would look at how, first of all, how significant is it something like, you know, double the effectiveness, maybe 5 times the effectiveness? Let's take, by the way, an example from AI. Um, I heard the other day an analyst from Bloomberg asking, okay, all this overinvestment in AI, how come there's no use case of productivity? And I was thinking that's a bit funny to say that because we're all so much more effective today with AI, both as individuals and as companies and as we as employees, right? I think I became between 5 to 15 times more effective using AI. And I think anyone that's listening to this interview has already become a lot more efficient in AI. Now, let's say this AI, when it came out, ChatGPT and Gemini and Perplexity, they would say, hey guys, we're gonna make you 10% more effective. You know what? Who cares, right? If I have a tool for a company, okay, I'm in the industry and I'm coming with a certain product or service. I'm taking this data and I have something super cool, but my client within the B2B industry is becoming only 10% effective. Well, nobody really cares about that anymore. It's not enough. So I would look at how significant is it a game changer. Peter Thiel wrote a book From Zero to One, mentioning that startups, unless they make things 10 times more effective or more, they're not in the game. They're not a game changer. So not necessarily 10 times. That's not every service provider is that disruptive startup. You don't have to be disruptive to add value, but something marginal like 10% is not enough. Secondly, I would so for it to be significant enough. Secondly, once it's significant enough, am I making it easy for my client to either integrate my solution and try it out, right? If it's significant and the integration is just too cumbersome, it takes a long time, it requires my IT, there's bugs, another round of QA, blah, blah, blah. It's too much. Again, so in short, just to summarize and finish the answer, it's got to be very significant, and each client needs to decide what that means for them. Okay, but it can't be just, oh, it's nice, it can add value. That's not good enough. It needs to have very significant value. And it's got to be easy for me to test out, onboard, and integrate to, etc. Okay. Thirdly, I would say that, of course, regulation and being compliant is critical for many of these businesses. So but it almost goes without saying, but we'll say it anyway, being compliant, of course, but making it easy for my buyer, for my client, to ensure that my solution is compliant. So making that process, that verification process easy for me.
Great. Yes, thank you. Thank you for getting in depth about how the voting is going to go. The voting is currently active, so we look forward to the results, and then we look forward to seeing you at the gala and announcing all of the winners.
Thank you, Nicole. Thanks for your good work. I would also like to congratulate all the nominees, even being a nominee. is, I think, a bit of a win already. And let's see who the big winners are later.
Great. Thank you. See you then.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.